welcome back to another Wheel of Time video. This is part 3 of the 5 Minutes in Heaven series. This series of videos is based on a series of panels that I saw when I was at WoTCon in the summer. WoTCon being a Wheel of Time convention. Fantastic con. Total blast. Link in the description to the con. But the premise of these panels was basically, if you could add 5 minutes to each of the Wheel of Time episodes, what would you add? And the rules are you can't cut anything, you can only add. You can't add more than 5 minutes, but it doesn't have to be 5 continuous minutes. You can break it up. And you can't add anything that the show did not have access to. The example I always use, they didn't have access to Barney Harris for the last 2 episodes, so you can't add Matt, because they don't have an actor to play Matt. And anyway, for this conversation, I thought it would be really good to have people who know what they're talking about when it comes to writing. So I invited Bree back. Bree, being a best-selling science fiction, fantasy, romance author, written a ton of books. Her most recent books are the Mercenary Librarian series. And I also invited Allie from the Wheel Takes podcast, one of my favorite podcasts. But I invited her not because of that, but because she works as a creative executive at a production company, not a publishing company, which is what I said last time. Meaning basically her job is to read scripts all day. So she and Bree both know way more about writing than I do, which becomes painfully apparent when you watch these videos. So yeah, before we jump into it though, of course, always spoiler warning. We have Allie here. Allie is a first-time reader, so she had, as of the recording of this, had only read, I think, the first couple of chapters in A Crown of Swords. So if you have read as far as that, and you have seen the first season of The Wheel of Time, you're good to go as far as spoilers are concerned. So, with that out of the way, let's jump into it.
Let's be nerdy, babe. Let's be nerdy, let's be nerdy. Let's be nerdy, babe. Let's be nerdy, babe. Let's be nerdy, let's be nerdy, babe.
Okay, well then, we're moving on to episode 4. Again, my notes get, as I said, increasingly vague as things go on, because partly what happened is I just started watching the show and stopped taking notes.
That happened to me too. Or
Yeah.
I was like, I would get to the end of an episode and go, oh shit, I needed to write something down that I would add.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I put, I even wrote this in parentheses, this is a bad idea, but, more Leandrin and Nynaeve, just because I like them together as well. I just a lot of what I like is just seeing characters sort of spark off each other. So I like that, and it would maybe give us, because there's this point where Nynaeve asks about Moraine, and then we cut back to, and then she chose the Blue Aja. I'm like, I wanted to hear all of that story. So,
Yeah.
I understand why they did that, but I would like to hear it. And then more Lan and Nynaeve flirting, just because of reasons that are very, very important to me. And then
No,
I
I'm
always
with
want
you on
more
that.
of that.
Well,
Yeah.
I was thinking on in 3 that could have also been something, building that relationship even more.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then I am on record as not liking the Perrin Egwene thing, but it is because of the rules that I've set. It is canon. It is in the show. So I think this episode, it would be a good episode because we have a lot of them in the camp with the Tuathan. So you could build up on that, and it could still be ambiguous, but you could, for example, have him, just show him caring for her more. And like there's a scene where you see him, like he does 2 hammer strikes on a wheel, and then he starts talking with what's her name?
Ela.
Thank you.
Ela.
Isla or Ela.
Isla.
Yeah, but
I cannot
think,
pronounce it. But
Yeah, but you could show him working more and watching her with Aram, maybe.
Mhm.
But that would show. I found the 2 strikes. Like he literally, I don't even know what he was doing at that point. He just hammered a wheel 2 times and then started a conversation. So if we showed him actually doing a thing, and observing Egwene, I think that would give that more weight. And then again, there's another dream sequence. So again, I'm adding just literally give me eye in the dream, and then I'm moving on, and that's all I've got.
Give me
Because
an
I
eye.
forgot to take notes because it was a good episode.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the dream sequences eventually start to show us, because one of my favorite things about the dream sequences that makes me so excited every time we get them is that there are glimpses of what's to come potentially. You know what I mean? And I don't know if I get that season 1 might not be the time to introduce that element, because I think that Perrin and Egwene need to start learning more
Yeah.
about the dream world before that can happen. But
Yeah.
I'm really psyched to see hopefully that happening, because I want it, because that's what I love about the series is you can like there's the threads are all there and you can start to connect the dots on what's happening.
Yeah. It's weird because it is only Eye of the World that I don't like the dream sequences. The from the Great Hunt on, I love them. It's just for some reason I guess because it's nobody knows what's happening. Like none of the characters, so they don't know what's happening, and so it just feels really confusing.
And you're not the only person. I mean, Hollywood has feelings about dream sequences.
I guess, yeah.
And flashbacks. They don't like them a lot of the time. I mean, unless they're integral to your show. I always say avoid it if you can, because they can look like people who are amateurs trying to get exposition across in a cheaty way.
Right. But it's so like the dream world is so integral to Wheel of Time. So I don't know.
So I only have 2, like one I actually wrote while you were talking about the Eye of the World. You wanted it in the dream sequence. In the book, this is where the Tuathon tell them about the Aiel who was saying the Eye of the World, right? So I think we could put something in there. Like maybe sneak some reference.
Yes, that's right.
In there. Because the Tuathon maybe know something that, so that could be a place to sneak it in. Yeah, and also, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I was just throwing it in dreams, but you're right, because they hear it 3 places. They hear it in dreams, they hear it from the Tuatha'an, and then there's a third person. There's a third, because it's 3 mentions of the Eye of the World in the books. 3 separate things.
Yeah.
That make that Moraine go, we gotta go there, so.
I had only one other one, and I was like, this is another, a lot of fans really miss this. So I think that maybe Tom performing at the farm might be kind of cool. And that could give us a chance to have some, like a little performance thing and a little like, I mean, they did a really good job at the sneaky foreboding exposition with his song. And I feel like I like the idea of this because the music is so good in these shows. So like more of these characters like being musical, like, folk music and like songs that could teach us stuff. Because I love the Manetheren one. I mean, I like Tom's song. So like, I'm down for more singing.
And, that Tom... in this, we could see a bit of a change in him where like in this moment, he actually genuinely seems to want to perform.
Okay, yeah.
I also think that it could be a good moment for Matt, whereas like if he's not singing along, whereas he was the one who started the singing in the previous episode. Like we can see some more.
Yeah, more dagger.
Because I'm like, how can we add some more layers to the singing? Because you want because singing is great for exposition, but you also want scenes to accomplish more than one thing.
Ooh, also it could be a song about the Heroes of the Horn, because the little girl does love Brigitte.
I like that. I mean, you can see Tom's sort of softer side. You can see Tom bonding with Rand more. Because he doesn't get a lot of time to bond with Rand before he has kind of his big speech about Owen. We can start to see maybe Tom kind of teaching the boys to help him. I don't know. I also feel like they could maybe in the previous episodes to build that they're still being followed. Well, I guess they did build that Dina called the Fade, but I think we could get one more hint that they're still kind of running from the Fade. One more like kind of touch on the fact that they're being pursued, so that when the Fade comes, it doesn't feel quite so like
so sad.
The Fade's there? You're kidding.
Yeah.
Ooh, or like some exposition as to what the heck a Fade is.
Ooh, yeah.
Too. Oh, I also think Tom is potentially a way to sneak in something about like being wary of people being wary of like people's interpretations of stories and legends and prophecies and things like that. he's a potential good person for that to get it fleshed out a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's one of Tom's functions in the books. Okay, so sorry, I just saw my first note for episode 5. All right. So moving on to episode 5, I put here, this is my bad idea fantasy scene. Just because even watching it again, this drove me crazy. I want Rand to offer his coat to Matt. And then Matt can refuse it because, dagger, whatever. But it just drives me crazy because Rand is wearing 2 coats and Matt is wearing paper and he's freezing and it just, give him your coat.
It doesn't seem terribly in character for Rand to not give his friend his coat.
He has 2
That is
coats by this
true.
point. He has 2. He's got like that green thing over top of his sheep's coat, and Matt's got like a raggedy thing on.
That is true. That is weird.
It's just give your friend a coat. Anyway, okay. But all right. I said I would like to see a conversation or scene to show the friendship between Stepan and Lan beyond the one that they have the night before Stepan kills himself. Because for me, one of the issues with episode 5, I've always said is the most not made for me episode, I think, because it's the purpose of this episode is to communicate something that I already know. But one of the issues that I just a me thing, I didn't buy that Lan and Stepan were close enough for Lan to have been chosen as his like the representative of grief, because he's been traveling with like Ivan and Maxim seem to know him better, and he had this whole thing with Karene. Oh, they don't even talk. It's very hard to talk to them. So I kind of just wanted to see their friendship more, so that would make more sense.
Yeah, get a hint of like the Moraine Alana thing where she like knows the name of her dog and things like that.
Something like that.
Some kind of something. Yeah.
Something to show that they were friends. And then I also said a conversation between Valda and anyone to explain his certainty that Egwene can channel. Because I don't know how he has this certainty. And then this is a very tiny thing, but when Stepan is talking to Nynaeve about his grief, I kind of thought it would be cool to add something, because right now his description of his grief, it's very, very real. Like it's very, very, I believe it, but it doesn't feel anything more than normal grief of having lost a very, very close friend. And so him like just adding something about there's something missing in my, like, because we know as book readers that he's literally missing something, like there's a bond and he's lost it, like there's a hole, there's an emptiness. Alana says something about Warder swallowing the death, but I would like to hear that from Stepan in some way. So that's it. That's all I've got for this one.
I think I'd like them to address why they think it's a good idea to have the thing where you burn the ring on the precipice of a very large cliff. I would like to know that.
I would like to know why there are no railings in all of Tar
Jenny
Valley.
has an OSHA issue with this show.
There's so many
OSHA
shots
approved.
when they're just everybody else is just like, it's so beautiful. I'm like, it's so slippery. You're gonna fall.
You're on rock. You're on like cobblestones and
marble.
rock. Like
Yeah,
I mean,
if it
slip
rains
down those stairs.
And that's not even just like you. It's like you can drop something in your broom and it will roll off the balcony because there's no railings. Like it'll just like, oh, that was my favorite coffee mug. Too bad. It's gone.
Too bad.
Yeah.
What do you think happened to Jenny the dog? No. Just seems like a bad place to have a dog.
I'm just imagining like how often my dogs go running and then they just slide across the hardwood.
Yeah, the hardwood or the linoleum. I mean, it just seems like a very bad idea.
Railings!
I mean, it looks amazing, but just like we have this guy who's clearly suicidal and wants to unalive himself. Yes, let's have him like get rid of the only connection he has to her left, his only like trinket of her. on the edge of this cliff. I just want to know who came up with this
standing
idea.
over burning molten gold.
I
It's
legit
like-
thought he was going to throw himself off the cliff afterward. I was like
Yeah.
so certain that was where we were going, that I was just like girding my everything for that, and
Yeah.
it didn't happen. It happened later, obviously, but I just find it just seems like a badly done.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to happen later because I saw the clip in advance with the missing knife and Lan running, and I was like,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
no, I know
Yeah.
exactly where that is going. And
Right.
it's not. Sometimes I do not like writer brain.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, missing knife, running man.
This for
Oh,
me
yeah.
was one of those things of just having read the book. I think I've said this to you, Brie. The minute, even before the show came out, they mentioned Karenni and Stepan, and I was like, oh, they gonna die. Like, there's
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
reason to bring characters from New Spring into the series, except for being
to
able
kill
to
them.
kill. Yeah, to kill them
Yeah.
with no other consequences. That's the only
Yeah.
reason. So
Yeah,
I
I want to be like,
that's
but they were
yeah.
my favorite random Aes Sedai.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's so funny to look at the difference between readers and non-readers with this, because nobody
Mhm.
told non-readers that they weren't supposed to
Exactly.
get attached to Stefan.
exactly.
So they were deeply invested, and
Yeah.
like the grief on my Discord, because it's
Yeah.
mostly it was mostly non-readers. A lot of them have read them now, but like it was mostly non-readers, and they were just like, oh,
Yeah,
this
Like,
beloved
that's-
main character just got Ned Starked,
yeah,
and
That's
all
what I
of
mean
the
about,
readers
Like
are like,
Layla.
yeah.
what a waste of an episode on some random nobody. And I'm like, you guys, that's not how they're experiencing it.
That is not how they're experiencing, and it's telling them what they need to know about this
Yeah.
bond. And yeah, I think they could have, if they had 5 extra minutes, right? Because
Yeah.
5 extra minutes is a lot of time. I think they could have emphasized it even more, the importance of this relationship, the importance of like, I think they could have also emphasized even more with 5 extra minutes, Lan and Moraine's, feelings in response to seeing this.
Mhm.
And like seeing Moraine get really prompted by this to be like, is there a way out of this for Lan?
Yeah.
Even if it's a very uncool way out, Moraine, very uncool way out, like
Very cool.
top 10 uncool. Moraine has done one thing wrong to me. I feel you, Brie, by the way, on the writer brain going like, I can't.
Well, no,
Yeah.
see,
What do you
I am definitely as a reader, if I start seeing blocks of long paragraphs with no dialogue, my eyes start skimming, because I'm like, give me people interacting. So like,
Mhm.
I am I'm a much faster paced writer than a lot of like epic fantasy, because, I want people interacting. I want their feelings and emotions. And like, that is the heart of what I am interested in as a reader and a writer.
I want conflict. I
Yeah.
want plot forwarding elements, and I want character development.
Yeah.
And I have a hard time with like the walking and talking and looking at stuff parts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel you in like seeing Eamon Valda and kind of his like weird tense moment with, what was it, Bornhold?
Yeah.
Was it Bornhold?
Yeah.
And I was just like, that guy's gonna kill his commander. And I was like,
Yeah.
I just see that for them. This is not gonna
Yeah.
be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gus and I did have a couple conversations behind your back, Allie, about how much this show was going to like give you keys to
Well, yeah,
keys
because
to
now it's
things.
visual too, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, like an extra thing. I'm like, I get to see a little bit, like, what do they think is important for me to know?
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's been a little bit interesting. Is like, I'm like, Eamon Valda, I've just only heard of him, and
Mhm.
now of course I've met and dislike him, but
yeah.
Shocking.
but
Shocking.
But I was like, Eamon Valda, like I've heard of him twice in passing. Like why do they think it's so important for me to meet him?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that started my brain turning. But yeah, I think, I get what you're saying with the writer brain, because I feel like I can't relax reading these books anymore. I have
Yeah.
to- I'm like, I got to know what's going to happen. It's too much. But I think that's what I had for 5. Yeah, I think, even exploring the water bond even more. And yeah, definitely emphasizing, maybe it's Egwene like trying to save Aram with a little lame weave or something like that.
Mhm.
Right.
Something where just Eamon Valda feels more
Yeah.
Yeah.
some
like
reason
they're
to-
bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there was 2 things in that episode that I was just like, I can headcanon it, but
I
I'm having
didn't
to do
actually-
much work in my brain.
I didn't actually think he was sure she could channel. I just thought he was like, hey, either I catch a witch or I do some fun torture.
Yeah.
Win-win. Great Saturday night.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, but then the question is, then why didn't he grab more of them?
Anyone
Like, why?
else, yeah.
Yeah, I
why
mean,
not Aram?
But they
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
with the suspicious lady, so I mean,
I suppose it was for me. I wanted some more of an explanation.
no, I think that
That's-
it's better. Like if you're
Yeah.
leaving a lot of people wondering, it's not the best. Even if it's like not a official plot hole, generally speaking,
Yeah.
you don't want people distracted wondering why. So like
Yeah.
I think fleshing that out, closing that loop. I do have two things for 5.
Yes, please.
I'm gonna put
Okay.
my one first is a small one. I think that the jump from Leandrin telling Nynaeve to go to the gardens to get some
Oh,
Yes,
and then
I forgot about that.
Royal
But
coming
yes.
in. I would like to see Nynaeve in the gardens, and I would like to see her like maybe checking out some warder students, some novices and accepted, and then Loyal. So like
Yeah.
give us a tiny little bridge, because I think
Yes.
that was a little bit for
Sudden.
people to like catch up
Mhm.
with. Loyal suddenly comes in with Nynaeve. Like
You're
it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be much, but just like a little
100%.
bit.
100%.
100%
And I
agree with
feel
you.
like, yeah, I feel like that was cut for time. So that would
Yeah.
be a good moment to,
Yeah.
because I'm like, there had to have been half a page of like Nynaeve checking out the gardens, Loyal like
Yeah.
coming up and being like, oh, hello.
I
You
see
from
Are
the
you
Two
sure
Rivers?
Braid from the Two
Yeah.
Rivers?
Are
Yes.
you from the Two Rivers? Yeah.
I
I think
also
that would have been fine.
Yeah. I also, and this is again bad idea, library, but because of the way that scene is shot, I in my mind have imagined it, because Loyal comes in and then about 5 seconds later, Nynaeve explodes into the room, which means that she had to have been running. Like he was walking too fast and stuff. So I kind of want to see them walking with her running to catch up. It's not good television, but it's funny in my mind. It's just like, why?
Yeah.
I think you
Why
could totally do
is-
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you could totally have that. Maybe they were
Yeah.
having something like that, and then it just had to be
Yeah.
cut for time. We'll never know.
It's like,
But-
why didn't she come in with him? Oh, the only reason she didn't come in with him is because she couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
He walks
You're
too fast.
totally right. You're totally
Yeah.
right. I feel
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, that would have been good. Yeah, I had that written down too. I just completely forgot to say it.
I
Okay,
and
now I'm
thought of
gonna
it, but I
take
forgot to write it down.
my pin out of episode 2 where I have Egwene trying to heal
okay.
Moraine. I would like near the end of this to find a way for Egwene to get Perrin to the Yellows and for her to witness them healing him.
Ah,
I would like her to
Mm.
see those weaves happening.
see it. Okay, that's
I would like
smart.
her to see it, and then we'll put a
Like a
pin in for
later
episode
step.
8 again.
Yes. Oh, that is so smart. Yes, I like that a lot.
Bree, are you a writer?
I
Are
have
you
maybe dabbled.
a writer by any chance? Yes. I love
Because
that.
that is actually my headcanon for how she knew how to do the healing in episode 8. She saw them
Yeah.
You
heal
saw them
Perrin.
do it.
And so I think you could just put that on screen and be like, yeah, she was frustrated because she couldn't help Moraine. She
Mhm.
watched these people do their magic healing of Perrin. She may not be as great as Nynaeve, but we know in the books, Nynaeve can watch somebody do something once and then she's
good to
and
go.
you know, there is a point where like Egwene watches Elaine do something and learns it from her, or like they learn from each other. So like, yeah,
Mhm.
I think that it is perfectly rational for Egwene, who has failed at her herb healing, to see some healers do some stuff and internalize that and pull it out in a moment of like tragedy and like stress and
Yeah.
panic. So
Yeah. I also would have liked to see, now I'm realizing, Nynaeve kind of with Matt and the concern
yeah.
Yeah.
building for him.
Yeah.
Because I think that would have been a nice moment for her and Matt.
Yeah.
Because these, and just to emphasize that these are like her kids almost, they're
Yeah.
like her babies.
These are her baby ducklings.
Her babies.
These are her
yeah.
baby ducklings, and like just emphasizing that like I'm bringing you all home and
Mhm.
you are all
Yeah.
going to be fine, but we are
Yes.
going home.
Yeah.
Home.
We are
Yeah.
going home at the end of this. And it's going to be sooner rather than later if I have anything to say about it. Like I think that
Mhm.
could have been
Braid tug. Yes.
emphasized, with the little
Yeah.
braid tug, like
Yeah.
no, nothing's gonna happen to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really astute.
Yes.
That would be
Yes.
nice to just build that a
You
lot.
could show. Yeah, that could also fit in episode 6 because you do have like we see inside the yellow
Mhm.
Aja place in episode 6.
Yeah, either 5 or 6.
All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that. I love this conversation. It was so fun. Anyway, let me know, what would you add to episodes 4 and 5 if you could. Let me know in the comments down below. And if you like my content and you want to support me, I do have a Patreon. It will be linked in the description below. Thank you so much to my patrons. I couldn't do this without you. I really couldn't. That is a true and sincere thing that I'm saying. So thank you so very much. And with that, I will end this here. So please like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Nothing will harm you. I've got like that song in my
Nothing's gonna
head.
harm you.